Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, new figures show affordability is plummeting to all-time lows. Just released CoreLogic figures show it will now take 12 years, yes, 12 years to save a deposit, and will have you use a huge chunk of your income to service the mortgage. Joining me now is CoreLogic's Chief Property Economist, Kelvin Davidson. Kelvin, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you start by explaining to us what the value to income ratio is?
Oh, that's just measuring the ratio of house prices as they currently prevail in the market to average household income. So it's a pretty simple measure of housing affordability. So it might be simple, but unfortunately it's not that reassuring. It's at a record high, or in other words, on that measure, housing affordability is at a record low. So the market's really, really stretched. No surprises. We've seen house prices go up a lot. Incomes have been a lot flatter. So it's inevitable that affordability has got worse.
What I find really interesting about your report this morning, and I've got a little photo here of all the Prime Ministers, the last three, excluding Bill English, who have served this country and tried to tackle housing. If we look at that measure of property values versus incomes, in 2007, when Helen Clark left, it was 6.1. Tell us what the number is now.
We're currently sitting at 8.8 on the house price to income ratio, and so record high, easily above the peaks of previous cycles. And yeah, I mean, you talk about, I suppose, government failure over the years. It's been of both colours. National and Labor have looked at the housing market and not really been that successful. So there's a long history of, I guess, trying to intervene in the market and not quite succeeding. I've got a little bit more optimism at present, I've got to say. There's the changes to the Resource Management Act, the changes allowing more dwellings on the same plot of land. So I think if we're going to look back and say this was a time when housing affordability did start to improve, we've got just about as good a chance now as any, I think.
It is incredible, though, isn't it, to think back to the 2017 election where, the housing crisis was first and foremost on our minds when it came to how we would vote. And back then, under John Key, it was 7. Now it's 8.8. It's really, really shot up. And a lot of that is to do, of course, with post-pandemic and the boom that we have seen. Tell me about the increase in mortgage interest rates, because that makes it more expensive, right? So could this potentially, the proportion of your income needed to pay for your mortgage, potentially make this worse, make houses less affordable?
Yeah, that's right. It will. I think in the near term, unfortunately, affordability might get worse before it gets better, simply because mortgage rates are going to go up more. People who have got finance already will find that more expensive, and people who are trying to get a mortgage will be having to pay more to get that mortgage too. So mortgage interest rates are certainly going to make things worse. And I suppose, COVID, I don't think it's really had a direct impact on the housing market, but it's certainly been indirect through undermining the economy. That pushed the Reserve Bank to lower the official cash rate. That saw mortgage rates fall sharply, and it's seen house prices increase sharply. So, the whole election promise in 2017 around improving affordability, I suppose it got scuppered a little bit by the unanticipated COVID pandemic, but it certainly played an influence in the housing market and probably will continue to as well.
Yeah, it's just incredible, the growth since we first sort of started calling it a crisis. The growth has really taken off. When will it get cheaper? If you're sitting here this morning and you want to buy a property, you've got interest rates going up, which means they're not as affordable. There's no real sign that there's going to be a huge correction in prices. When are you going to be able to afford a house?
Yeah, the market has slowed pretty sharply in the past couple of months. We're still sort of sitting in the camp that says it'll be a slowdown rather than a downturn, because people are still in jobs. People's mortgages have already been tested at higher interest rates anyway. So I think there is a degree of buffer in there, if you like, against a big downturn. But certainly the market's slowed. And if house prices can flatten off later in the year, incomes have a chance to catch up. There's still a bit of credit available. Sure, it'll cost you more and you might need a bigger deposit than previously. But, we're looking at perhaps the second half of the year to be what we might call a buyer's market, where buyers feel like they have some pricing power, might be able to get a sneaky offer accepted. So, second half of the year, that's kind of what I'm looking for, but it could be sooner. The market has already slowed pretty quickly. So, yeah.
The only problem with that, though, is that you might have an increase in your wages, but all your other costs are going up too, right? Including rent. So when is it going to be affordable?
Yeah, I mean, I never talk about affordability in an absolute sense, whether it's affordable or not. I think you have to look at affordability in relative terms, and it's where a particular city sits relative to another, or in relation to its own history. So it's a bit of a tricky one to say when will it be affordable in absolute terms. But certainly, I think the balance of power might have shifted by the second half of the year. A bit less competition, people will feel like the open homes are a bit emptier, and they've got a better chance of getting a sneaky deal accepted. So, I'd suggest work on your finances now, and perhaps target the spring buying season.